This time on Captain Castle's Laboratory, we're going to be working on the Department 56 Haunted Coal Car. And this is how I got it. Well, it was in the box, but this is how it came out of the box. It's in pieces. They tried to fix it themselves a couple years ago, and they gave up. And they asked if I can fix it, and I'm going to try. They actually had two of these. When this one broke, this was the first one. They went and bought a second one. It also broke. It's over there in the box still, because this thing's rather big. As you can tell, it's wider than the camera. If you don't have this piece, it is 30 inches long. Probably a little bit longer once you put that on, so probably 31, 32 inches. Yeah, 32 and a half. So this is a very long piece. So anyway, I'm assuming the premise of this piece is it moves back and forth on the track using a magnet. And the reason I say that is there's a magnet here and a magnet here. Here's the power supply and a tree. Let's get this all untangled and get out of the way. Get the screws out of the way too. Real fast, the power supply, if you need to know, is a 6 volt, 200 milliamp power supply DC. So, since I get tons of questions about power supplies, if you've noticed real recently, I try to add power supplies, voltages and information to all of my videos. So in case you watch a video and you're like, I have that piece, but I lost the power supply, you know what to look for. Or at least I hope it helps. So anyhow, here's the belt. And the belt has felt with a magnet. And it's a nylon belt. So if this belt ever breaks, you can go get some nylon if you're good at sewing, sew this back on, and then you can rivet it back on as well. You can get little rivets, whether they're from a hardware store or even some fabric stores carry rivets for like jeans and stuff. And you can replace your belt. So on this end, we have the drive gear, which is just hanging loose. The drive gear, which drives the pulley, which has the friction increaser, which is a piece of, feels like rubber that's corrugated to grip the nylon. Here's your follower and tensioner. As you see, it's got a spring, so that way you can, if it pulls, hopefully you never have to make the spring bigger. That means your nylon has stretched. But it doesn't work, so I'm assuming the problem's up here where the motor is. Because what you see is how I got it, and I have nothing more than that other than a sticker on it that says "Don't use, doesn't work." So we're gonna see if we can find out why. Well, that might be part of the problem. See, that says 4.5 volts DC. This one says 6. That's not a good thing. So, what I said at the beginning, don't listen. Let's just reverse that. 4.5. These older pieces, which I wish they'd do this again, and I know a lot of people out there are frustrated with it because I hear it all the time. Now they just give you a part number, like 56 dot something, 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 and that's what you use. It's like, that's great, but on your older ones where they don't make the power supplies, what was the voltage? What was the amperage? What was the polarity? What was the type of voltage? Is it AC, DC? You know, something like that. So, but anyway, since this one uses the standard 4.5 volt DC center hot, that's what Lemax uses. So I'm going to plug in my Lemax power supply I have sitting here, which is also nice because I have power supplies on my bench, and with Lemax, I only pretty much ever have one plugged in. With Department 56, I either have to fabric cobble something or find one. So it's ridiculous. But the motor's in here. What I want to do before I plug it in is get the motor exposed. There we go. Oh, look at that beauty. That is a 6 volt motor. This big one right here is an SRF 500. Oh, I need my magnifiers. I can't read it. Print's too small. 1, 2, something. It's curved down. I'll get you the full number. But this motor usually runs at 6 volts. This belt is vulcanized. I can spin the belt over the pulley, and it's not really changing much shape. It's got big lumps in it. So, anyhow, here's our motor. Plug it in. It's a direct drive, so if it doesn't work, hey, look, it works. But I'm going to put a little pressure on the gear, and it's still working. So I have no idea. I have no idea why they were having a problem with this. It does need a belt, though. I'm not gonna lie. This belt's horrible. It's not elasticy, and it's shaped like the triangle. And so this belt, or excuse me, this motor. While I'm looking for my belts, because I've been rearranging and I have no idea where I put stuff anymore. This motor is usually listed as a 6-volt motor. It runs at 5 or 4.5 volts, as you saw. And there we go. See if that's the right size. So you could technically run it at 6 volts. It'll work. It is a 6-volt motor. The SRF 500 series are very standard and like Mr. Christmas. So and most of those are 6 to 8 volts. The motor can even run above that 6 volts. Yeah, I can't stop that. I can't stop that gear with my fingers. I'm just checking these gears, because on the bottom you got 3 gears, and this is the freewheeling set of trucks. This truck makes the guys go back and forth. So what I was saying with the magnet is, as it goes around, it jumps from one magnet to the other and jumps around. The reason they have them staggered, I'm going to say, is twofold. One, if they're right across from each other, that magnet may have a hard time picking it up depending on the strength of the magnet, or it may cause some binding. The other one is, with the staggering, it allows it to go so far, pause, and then go back, pause. So it's the pause time. Kind of like on the Lee Max one, it gets to the end of the track, and then it stops, and then it goes. And the trolley one that I did, that one has a 10-second delay, which is an eternity, but nonetheless, it has a 10-second delay, and that is the way they do that one. It looks like there might be one piece missing. And I'll check the bag here. What's missing is this fits right in here for the gear, but the bushing that holds this in isn't in here. That's a problem. That is missing a bushing. So, to give you an example of what I'm talking about, here's the bushing on this end. It kind of looks like a top hat. So it goes in here, then it goes into this hole and keeps it centered. This side's supposed to have the exact same bushing. So, let's take a look in this big old chunk of foam. And see if we have a bushing lying around in here. Nope, no bushing. And they may not have one readily accessible. Please. The top, I call them top hat bushings because of their shape, but those flanged or quote unquote top hat bushings are kind of hard to find in the correct size. I thought for sure we'd easily get it back together, but the problem was just a belt. What we got here? Those are alignment pins. That's glue. Oh crap. Get that off of here. Well, I'm going to have to dig through a whole bunch of stuff to try and find a bushing that's going to fit on that. So we can get it in that hole. Just see if this bushing fits. Yep. Look at that. So, all right. Worst case is, because I have two, I can get one of them working for her. So if I can't find a bushing, I'm going to pause this here in a minute. If I can't find a bushing, I'm going to move this to the side and then pull the other one out and see what's wrong with that one. That one could just be a belt. We're going to find out if I can't find a bushing. But anyway, let me see if I can find a bushing. I shall return. Okay, I'm back. I went through everything. I cannot find a bushing, so I pulled out the other one. So here's the other one. I'm actually wondering, because the other one came with a 6-volt AC adapter as well, although it says this one says 4.5 as well. So I'm wondering if they're mismarked. It really doesn't matter. It's a 6-volt rated motor, but, you know, we'll see. So let's plug this one in. I hear it. Doesn't mean anything. I let the person know that worst case is we can make one good one out of two broken ones. If this one just needs the bushing, I'm assuming this one's broken. I can hear it clicking and nothing's moving. I can get a bushing, but I don't feel like paying like $10 flat shipping for one little bushing. So it'd be something I would put on the back burner, and then when I have a big enough order, I'd add it to that order. Because a lot of the companies that sell some of these parts have a flat shipping cost. Doesn't matter if you spend $1 or $1,000, it's the same price. So, I mean, I'll check some more. I mean, I don't know. I might have it hidden somewhere. Okay, so everything's turning. Let's get this off. Let's relocate this one over here so it's out of the way. Just don't have. There we go. So the belt's turning, the motor's turning, the worm gear's turning. All the gears going underneath are turning. It's not turning the big belt. It sounds like it's jumping the teeth. So that means we need to take the bottom off. And the bottom has a lot of screws. So if you're doing this by hand, you might be sore at the end. Especially since you got to put them all back in. Couple more. Okay, let's see. apparently this screw is not all the way out. There we go. Well, that's what it's supposed to look like. Now, let's turn her back on. You can see this jerked for a second. It's not turning. So, it's not turning because this gear is broken. I don't know if you can see, I can turn the gear without this turning. So, you know what I got over here? I have a good gear. Why that sounded like Yogi Bear. Oh, there it is. Make sure that one's good. Yeah, that one's good. Let me make sure there's no damage to this guy because, of course, you know, it was spinning. Make sure there's no teeth damage. So this one has the bushing right there. I know it's right on the edge of the camera, but again, these things are so big. I only have so much room on the bench. That's why, like on the giveaway, that's right now, because it's a platform from Carl, it's so big I had to film it on the floor. But when this video goes up, that contest will be over for the one village thing, and that's because the drawing is tomorrow and this won't be up for weeks, so that's just the way it works. Okay, so that one's locked in, springs in. This bar that holds the pulley fits into a groove here, just like there's a groove right there. So it's right on the edge of the camera. We got some stainage on the belt right in here. I don't know what that's from. It's blackish, so I'm not sure if it's from the belt. That's probably what it is. This was probably sitting in the Arizona heat, and this was the part that was wrapped around, and the dye transferred from here into the belt. All right, let's put the bottom on. And the reason we need to do that is we need to keep this pulley straight up and down. So we need to use the hole in the base to do so. So I was hoping leaving the screws in would help, but it's actually a hindrance, and I'll explain why in just a second once I get them all out. So this belt is putting pressure on the pulleys because it's under spring tension, of course. So in doing so, it's taking this pulley and cocking at an angle. So you have to kind of push it over, but in doing so, the screws are catching all the standoffs and not allowing me to get it to center that. So I was hoping leaving the screws in would have helped, but no. Why would that happen? So I'm not going to put all the screws in. I'm going to put the 4 screws around the motor area because that's where all the torque is. And then a couple of screws over here to hold this plate from flapping. Probably right here to help put pressure on that follower pulley. No, that's the right one. Okay. The screws that go in here are a different length on these 4 than they are on the rest of the unit. They're shorter, and that is the wrong screw. This is the short screw. I want to make sure that they actually do what they're supposed to do. When they're long, it doesn't give you the right tension, and you get, I'm going to put these in too, you get where it doesn't seat right, and you get a little wobble in the plastic base. They're They're all the same threads. It's just that those 4 that go around the drive assembly are shorter. There you go. So these 4 will keep tension on this idler or guide pulley, and these 4 will keep tension on the drive pulley. And you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to take the belt I put on this one, since it's new, and switch it over to this one, which is old and hard. I don't know where the magnet is, but it should hopefully catch this. I hear it. I see that the belt is moving, looking through here at an angle. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Oh. It has stopped, which is bad, and I can hear it clicking, which I have a funny feeling the gear just broke. That's why I didn't put all the screws in. All the drive was spinning, but the pulley wasn't spinning. So we're going to take it back apart. It was cool, it worked for a second. This is why I didn't want to put all the screws in. I just want to put enough to keep tension for testing. If something fails, it's less screws to take out. If it doesn't work, if it works and it doesn't fail, then you just put the rest of them in and call it good. Yep, gear split. So these gears are so old that this gear, which was perfect and fine, split, just like that one. And that's because of the age. So, not a problem, I think. Well, we just need to match up a gear. And that's going to be... it could be a problem, I don't know. We're going to find out here in a minute. Kind of looks like that gear there. It's the right amount of teeth. So, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's the fractures right there. Just like that one, it's almost the exact, it's, well, the exact same spot. It's a round circle, so it doesn't matter. This gear should work if I bore the hole out. So these have a 3mm shaft. That is a 2mm. So I look for my 3mm drill bit, which should be this one. And that's like 2.7. It's this one. Yep, it's that one. We're going to drill it out. Apparently this collet is not big enough. Or is it? Let's see. So you can get little drill bits that are for hobbies that are these small guys. So it doesn't fit in that little handheld one. So I'm going to use a full-size drill. You just got to do it very carefully because you don't want to drill your fingers, slip. So there we go. So that hole is now about 2.7, and now I'm going to pop the 3 in. I will step them up when it's at least usually 50%. That might have been a 2.5. I can't read the markings on it. And the reason being is I don't want to crack the gear. A little bit more for the 3 to go through because the 3 is dull from doing this a lot. I need to sharpen the drill bit. So now I just got to press it on, and I usually do it on the edge of the bench over here where I have some holes. Let's see if I can just do that real quick. If you watch other videos, you've seen where I've pressed gears on using spacers and tools. So there we go. So just push it on and push it in. Make sure when you put your belt on that the magnet is touching the bottom of the top, that you don't reverse the belt if you take the belt completely off like the other one is. And then be mindful that there's nothing holding this end in. So if you bump it, it could fling like a catapult or a slingshot and fly out and possibly hit you, or just fly someplace where you can't get to it because it rolls under a table or something. I was making a foam tree, and a can of great stuff hit the ladder I was working on and rolled underneath a wall unit about 2 weeks ago. You know where it's at? It's still under the wall unit. You know why? I don't feel like moving the wall unit. So I'll do it this weekend because I will need that can this weekend, but just an example of what happens. Things tend to land in places where you can't get them. If you're still watching this and you're not bored out of your skull, hopefully you're getting ready for Halloween or Christmas if that's what you prefer. It is the season. It is the, I think today's what, the 5th? Hell, I don't remember. I took the calendar off my clock. 4th. Sorry, today's the 4th. That's Friday. Thank God. But the holiday season's rapidly approaching. Doesn't feel like it, a lot of people say where I am at, because today is October 4th and we're 108 degrees. Yeah. Mornings are nice though. It's like in the 70s. It's beautiful. But afternoons, you stay inside and do stuff like this. Alright, same thing. We're just going to put in the 8 screws to put tension on both ends of the track system, and we're going to try this again. I don't think there's a direction that matters. What's the picture show on the box? Where's the box? Oh, the box actually shows the lady towards the drive mechanism. As I said, I don't think it matters, but the only reason I'm wondering is because of the distance between the magnets for that All right, take 2. Fabric belt spinning. And I'm sure it's around here somewhere. It'll grab whenever it gets to it. Right there. And then smack. Definitely needs the cover on it because when it smacks, the cat's ass is up against the belt. See if we can make one full go about. Just going to do that so the cat's ass doesn't smack the belt. You'll see what kind of force it hits with it. Move the cover. Apparently this is dying. So, if you have this piece, here we go. Well, that's a lot quieter when you put that over it. It covers the motor noise. So if you have this piece, it's not terribly difficult to disassemble. It's a whole bunch of screws. Yeah, it's as far out as it goes, so you get the most of it in the picture. So I know it's the tree from the other one, but pop the tree in just to complete the unit here. Now you can't even see it. There's the tree. So if you have this piece and your people die, it jerked because if you look, watch. That's why it jerked, is because I pushed it off the magnets. If you have this piece and it dies, possibly the belt, because these are vulcanized and they're really bad. Second thing it could be is the motor. The motor you can get from Happy Holidays parts. It's a SRF 500, which is a 6-volt rated motor. Oh yeah, I was going to plug in a 6-volt. I mentioned that too. We'll see if it changes speed. There's no lights or anything. There's no circuit board. This is literally just connected right to the motor. So with an off-on switch in the middle. Let me take the tree back off so I don't break it. But anyway, it's an SRF 500. You can look them up online. If not, Happy Holidays Parts carries them. Like I said, it's the most common motor Mr. Christmas uses, so it's a readily available motor. It doesn't matter if you screw up the wires by accident. The motor is DC. It will work in either direction. So if you can't remember which side was positive and negative, it doesn't matter. And this doesn't care because it just goes back and forth. So it's not like you're going to see a character moving in the wrong direction. But outside of that, the gear is in the generic gear kits I put on there, so I'll link the kits below. So if you break the gear, the belt, I don't know if anybody has it. You can check with Happy Holidays Parts. They might have a belt, but if not, it's nylon. If you know somebody that sews, you can have them sew a new one on, and just you can sew or rivet the magnet on. So there's not much to break on this. If these little guys up here break, the guy and the gal, it's 3 gears. You can see the screws, and these are standard hobby gears. They're nosed gears, so there's a nose on them. Yeah, it's not as in these two are the important ones. That one doesn't really care. The nose keeps them spaced properly. So, oh, hey, get back on the track. You got derailed. But so That's how fast it moves at 4.5 volts. Let's pop it out. It's way faster on 6. Look at that. That's crazy. They're hoofing it. Look at that. I don't know. It came with 6-volt supplies, but I think it's better with the 4.5 volts myself, like it says on the controller. That's more of a speed that people, if people in general, would move the car with the pumping motion. Hey, if you want Speedy Gonzalez moving your cart, you can do it. Use the 6-volt power supply. That's crazy. The motor won't care. The motor is rated for it. The motor usually runs at 6 volts. I think the motor goes up to 9. It's like a 3 to 9 volt rated motor, so 6 volts is within right in the center of its functioning range. So, but anyway, hopefully this helps you in figuring out how to diagnose and fix your Department 56, what they call it, coal car? Haunted coal car. Very simple, very basic. Readily available parts as far as motor, belt, gears, pulley in both here and there. The wiring, it's directly soldered to the motor. The only thing that this does is it's just your off-on switch to interrupt the signal, so that way it's not constantly on. Unless you shatter this resin piece, which I believe is resin, right? Nope, this is ceramic. So unless you shatter the ceramic shell, everything else is repairable, because it's going to be really hard pressed to break this. So, but anyway, I'm going to end it here, put in the last of the screws, put this one back in its box, and let her know that we were able to take and get one of the two working. That one will need a gear, which you saw I have. You just got to drill out the hole, and a bushing, which I don't have, that I can't find if I do have. So anyway, that will conclude it. So until the next one, and then if you have any questions or comments, leave them below.